Everything you've heard about the KISS years and the KISS stage shows and the spectacle is true. It's not a legend. We're going to show every new band how the big boys do it.
Everything. We want to give them everything we got.
It's really about a lifestyle and an attitude towards winning.
But you're kind of like a spaceman, huh?
No, actually, I'm a plumber.
To myself, look, Eric, you're going to do the best you can. You know you're good, you know the songs, and that's all you can do.
So it is just like a great opportunity that just suddenly landed in my lap.
This one's going to be exceptional.
Now I'm in the best band. I was in some good bands, but now I'm in the best band.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers, and welcome to episode 64. You can find us on all social media outlets. We are on Twitter, X, at RBTE podcast. We're on Facebook.com/Right Between the Eyes podcast. You can email into the show at rightbetweentheeyes@gmail.com. And if you listen on iTunes, Apple Podcast, or any of your podcast catchers, rate and leave a review of the show. And we really want to start reading those in 2025. I know I've said it for the last year or so. So we want to get to your listener comments and reviews of the shows. And speaking of the show, 2024 has just been, it's been an odd year for the podcast and a slow year, I guess is probably the better word. The Carusos have really been busy with work and trying to get the scheduling between the 3 of us. And then I started a second podcast because of RBTE was kind of slow. And then my life schedule kind of got busy. I put together a band this year in 2024. We will have an official name. There's one we're kind of floating around, but I'll wait and see if we actually use that name. It's a blues rock or a rock blues band. So we're learning some tunes and actually starting to write some as well. So more on that in the future. Like I said, I have a second podcast, Rogue Record Music, that I've only done 3 episodes for that this year. So I want to get that up and running. Of course, the Carusos have Vigilante 1939 episode or a podcast that they do. And we really want to get Right Between the Eyes back to where it was before the end of KISS being on the road. And we've said it on a couple other different podcasts. I think because we were just churning out content so fast, and not even so fast because we were bi-weekly for the most part, but there was always something to do. And especially once we had the idea of everyone going to Rosemont, we did this huge long Rosemont series. Then KISS on December 2nd ended their touring career after 50 years. And I think the 3 of us kind of had this moment of like, well, what are we going to do now? And I have a list of ideas for podcast episodes that I wanted to do as we were putting the show together, but we were just getting all of this content from the time that we started between Off the Soundboards, the A&E documentary, the End of the Road tour starting, toying with the idea, are the 3 of us going to try to go to a show together and meet each other one-on-one, and then getting involved with KISS Army things, and In My Head channel, KISS Army Nation podcast, and It's All For You Demon, and just all of these great shows and all these great friendships that we had met along the way. So we were all just bouncing around each other's podcasts. And I don't want to say that it was burnout, but you get to the end and get to the pinnacle of that thing that you wanted to do. And Rosemont was such a great capstone to the first wave of our podcast. I think we had a moment to sit back and go, okay, what's the next step? So it was a lot of start and stops through 2024, not near the amount of episodes that I would like to have done. So moving into 2025, it's so crazy to say that. we are going to be doing more episodes. And in some of those cases, it just may be a solo episode, and the Carusos have, obviously given me the blessing to do so, but I very much want it to be, not just necessarily a solo episode by me. I want to be reaching out to the other KISS communities. And of course, by all means, when the Caruso schedule allow for it, they definitely want to be here. So I do want to hope that 90% of those episodes involve Nick and Nico very much. And this episode you're getting ready to watch, Can You Spell Christmas with a Kiss, episode 64. Right up until the day we were going to do this episode, Nick and Nico were on board, but it's also Christmas time. It is December 22nd at the time that I'm filming this intro, and this episode was filmed a couple days ago with our guest host, which I'm going to say here in just a second. They had to cancel at the very last minute. Nico had a Christmas work party he had to go to that they were, scheduling, like, hey, we're going to have our office Christmas party on, one day this week. And they had actually chose Thursday, and it was going to be really tight for him to get home. Nick was on the road for his job, and they were both like, dude, we are so sorry. So don't worry, Nick and Nico, they are a part of this episode because this is a 9 episode. So initially I thought, well, maybe we just won't do it. And Nick was like, no, you should go ahead and do the episode. Let's continue to have content out there. So I thought, I'll do this solo. Well, a couple nights prior, Pasquale from Kiss Army Nation podcast had invited a bunch of us podcasters and people that collect Kiss merchandise to be on his show. And I was on there with Xander. So as the call was going on, I had mentioned to Xander once we were done, like, hey, we're going to be recording RBTE. And he's like, oh, that's great. So the day of the podcast, I reached out to Xander and said, hey, I just found out Nick and Nico can't do the show. Are you available? And that's like at Thursday, trying to plan it. And right away he said, yes, I have a Christmas party I have to go to, so it'll be a little bit later. And I was like, great, because we always record later on a Thursday. So I was coming from band practice, and we got in a 45-minute episode. So me just kind of talking here a little bit and then doing a button up at the end. We'll put it here. So Xander is on this episode and trying to come up with, like, what can we do for a Christmas episode, a KISSmas episode, if you will. And I got to thinking, like, it'd be kind of cool to take each letter in the word Christmas. I was originally going to do KISSmas because I thought KISSmas, but I started counting the letters in Christmas, and there are 9 letters. I mean, for this show, the 9. So there are 9 letters in the word Christmas. So we take each one of the letters, and the first letter of a Kiss song title, like Crazy Nights. So there's your C. So Xander and I spell out Christmas with Kiss songs, and then Nick and Nico sent in their 9 list for Christmas. So can you spell Christmas with a Kiss? Yes, you can. So Xander coming in and pinch hitting at the last minute. Thank you, brother, for doing this. So this episode actually releases December 26th for our normal Thursday time slot. So after you've opened up all of your presents and you're sitting at home, and if you're off on vacation, or if you have to go back to work on the 26th, maybe you'll be listening to this podcast on the way to work in the morning, or on your break, or on your way home. You get a little bit more of a KISSmas from us at Right Between the Eyes. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Huge shout out to Xander from Kiss Army Things for helping make this episode so much fun, and just to be able to sit back and just talk some Kiss in a year that's been kind of hiccupy, some starts and stops for us. This was a great way to end this year for Right Between the Eyes. So without further ado, here is my good buddy Xander pinch hitting for Nick and Nico Caruso. And can you spell Christmas with a Kiss, if I can remember what the title of the episode is? Yes, you can. So here is our 9 for Christmas. I hope you guys enjoy this. In typical RBTE fashion, Rob is starting the show. We're here. This year has been kind of a strange year for us, and we had the save the date set. The Carusos and the Myers households were getting together, and wouldn't you know it, the Carusos had other Christmas parties booked. So I wrote a letter to Santa, and I said, "Dear Santa, can I have Xander help me on this episode?" So Xander from Kiss Army Things, brother, thank you for coming in and pinch hitting at the literal last minute. I was like, dude, do you want to do this show? And you so graciously said, yes.
You are very welcome, my friend. It is so good to be here. It's always a pleasure to be on your show, and I could not help myself. I almost interrupted you, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him speak, and when he's done, then I'll make this joke. A minute ago, you said, you're coming in. We're all just coming in at the nick of time. I so wanted to say Saint Nick because, yes, it is Christmas, and that was a terrible joke, but we're drummers, so badumts. Yeah. Either way, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm out of money bag, so just an old-fashioned Mountain Dew tonight.
Dude, Mountain Dew is almost just as good, if not better, than money bag, so I don't blame you one bit there. I love some Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is great.
Well, this is going to be fun. This was something that the three of us had talked about because we had just peeked behind the curtain. You and I were on Pasquale. So I think by the time this comes out, I believe the episode that we did Pasquale was coming out. And I found out at that episode that the Carusos were like, unfortunately, hey, like Nico does have a Christmas party that he's at tonight, and Nick's got something with work, and he's like, oh, I'm real sorry to cancel. I'm like, no, it's fine. I thought I could just do this myself, so I'm glad that you did this. But this was an idea. We're all about the 9 on this show, and I'm trying to think what were we gonna do for Christmas this year, and I'm just sitting there like trying to think what's another thing, and then the light bulb went off, and I was like, there are 9 letters in the word Christmas. Like, you can't write it. So the episode, as you're seeing it, can you spell Christmas with a kiss? So,
welcome to the 9. You may only choose 9 songs to move forward. No more, no less. The 9 is here.
So the first letter in the word Christmas, CHR, on down through, we're picking a song that starts with that letter, and that is going to be our 9. So if you write them all down, it'll spell Christmas. So as you can see, I cut and was moving things around. We do have Nick and Nico's. We'll read those at the end of the show, or depending on time, maybe they'll scroll down the bottom of the screen as we're talking. There's a nice spot down here that I'll run theirs down through so you can see that as well. So we'll see in editing and post how we do this. So I don't want to step on Xander's toes for time, so he graciously did this. Let's kick off the Christmas list, and guests go first in the RBT household. So how are you going to spell Christmas? What is your C, or your number 1?
First of all, this is a really clever idea, because I too had the realization. I was like, oh my gosh, Christmas has 9 letters and they're all about the 9. This is going to be so perfect. So what a creative idea. And for my letter C, beginning my list for Christmas, I chose Come On and Love Me, which is one of my favorite songs off of Dress to Kill. I think it's arguably the best song off Dress to Kill. Even if it's not my favorite necessarily, I think it is the best, musically speaking, the way it's composed, structured. It's just a perfect pop rock song. And I think that if that one had maybe been released to radio, that it would have caught on a little bit. But I love that song. I think it's absolutely great. And so, yeah, I chose that one to be my letter C to open my list.
So I always like to have a theme with my list. So we'll see if you can pick up what my theme is, and there's a reason why this is here. So for mine, sometimes you want something big at Christmas. How about a car? Maybe a real fancy car, like a Cadillac.
Oh, yes.
Cadillac. So I have Cadillac Dreams from Hot in the Shade. So
very nice.
I wanted something a little pricey from Santa Claus. Just not any car, a Cadillac, but just a boy can dream for Cadillac Dreams.
Oh,
so that is my
double reference.
Nice. And with all your elder stuff, I had to throw some.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's perfect.
What is your H number 2?
Oh, we're not gonna do your C.
Oh, did I? I did do my C. C.
Oh, you did. Oh my gosh, I'm so
It's late in the
wow.
evening. We've had too much eggnog already.
Well, I tell you what, that just shows you, how crazy the Christmas season can be with work and with. We literally just got back. I know you got back from band practice. We just got back from one of our nephew's concerts, Christmas concerts. So yes, you absolutely did do your C. Come On and Love Me, Cadillac Dreams. My H is Hell or High Water. I wanted to put Hotter Than Hell because it's so obvious. But I listened to Crazy Nights last week, and Hell or High Water is always a song that I just go back to. I think it's such it's a great song, even if it is simplistic. And it's funny to me, I think there's like maybe 3 writers. It was Gene and 2 other people. And it's funny how it took 3 people to write that song, as simplistic as it is. But I just love it. I think it's great. I love some of the vocal melodies they do, but Hell or High Water is, my H.
And we said it before on a previous podcast, even though Gene only had 4 songs on that album, they are all strong 4, and that is a contender for the best one of his better songs off the album. That's a great tune.
Was it really only 4? No.
Good Girl Gone Bad.
Good Girl Gone Bad.
Hell
or High Water.
And
was it Thief in the Night?
Thief in the Night, yes.
Thief in the Night. Huh. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess that's Crazy Night. Yeah, you're right. Okay, for sure. Very cool. So what's yours?
I saw this video December 2nd, 1989, and it is what made me a Kiss fan. We had our Christmas in the Village here in Mount Blanchard, the little town I live in. My best friend and I went up, and I had just taped Headbangers Ball the night before. I put it in, and I said, I think you're going to want to see this video. It was Kiss, Hide Your Heart. So
ooh, okay.
I always associate Christmas with Hide Your Heart. It's just that thing. So I pulled 2 from Hot in the Shade right off the bat. So
okay, for sure. I like that.
Cadillac Dreams and Hide Your Heart. So we have C and H. We are to the letter R if you're keeping track at home.
I feel like we're playing a horse.
Right.
In basketball, it's like we're on R now. Yeah. So for R, I have some 70s, some 80s. Now I'm going to go all the way to the very end, and for my R, I chose Right Here, Right Now. It is one of my favorite songs from the modern, the final Kiss, if you will. Even though it was a bonus track on Monster, I think it's just an awesome song. I think it should have been on the album itself, and the performance video that they released with it is really cool. But yeah, I thought, you know what am I going to choose for R? I'm going to go a little outside the box and choose Right Here, Right Now. That's
a great track. Of all the songs on Monster, I love all the songs, but that's one I go, oh, that didn't deserve to be a bonus track. That should have been an album track. I mean, I like Last Chance being the closer of the album, but in all my iTunes and stuff like that, I always just port that in, and I change the data on it so it reads it as the proper last track on the album.
Okay, for sure. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that song, it just, I don't know. I mean, even though I think it definitely belongs on that album, there's something different about that song. It has a very classic Kiss sound to it, which, I mean, obviously, Kiss post-Psycho Circus went back to their roots, but I just feel like with Right Here, Right Now, maybe it's that snare in the beginning that makes me feel like King of the Nighttime World. Some of the snare rolls in King of the Nighttime World, but yeah, no, that song is just awesome. I love it. I think the lyrics are great. You got to drop the pedal with the motor running. You got to hit it like a freight train coming. Drop the pedal with the motor running. Right here, right now. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's always in doubt. That's just classic Kiss lyrics right there. So,
and I think it's probably I know they were trying to have that modern 70s feel. I think that song in particular feels very much like what they were going for, which is really surprising. I wonder, like, in the writing process, where that was. Like you said, it sounds a little different then maybe the rest of the album, that's why they thought it's a good song, but it doesn't belong on the official album. But it's a great tune. We could do a whole podcast just on that that tune alone.
I love it. Yeah. So what's your R?
My R, and I may be playing my hand on my theme. I really think this song should have got some more traction. I'm gonna rise to it.
Yes.
So the theme is already for 3 songs is leaning very hot in the shade.
Yes, every song so far is off Hot in the Shade.
Is off Hot in the Shade. So we saw Hide Your Heart December that following Monday because it was a Saturday. We went to the record store. I bought Hot in the Shade, my first Kiss album in the month of December. That's all I had until February, my birthday. So to me,
Wow.
it's a KISSmas album because it was the only Kiss album I had on cassette.
Okay.
So don't be surprised if some other letters may not represent this album. So there's my part of my list for you. So Rise to It is my R. So what is your fourth song? Your I.
Would it be crazy if I said it was just I?
Would it also be crazy if I said mine is?
I was like, you know what? I think that right there is just perfect. I believe in me. We've done 3 Elder episodes. So I thought, you know what? I could do, I love it loud. I was made for loving you. I just wanna, I'm an animal or whatever. But I was like, you know what? No, just I.
My original on my list from Asylum, I wrote I'm alive, and then I put
I'm alive.
I had to do I because all the time I'm going to put the sound in here. We're always going I, where we take it from the 77 performance of Gene doing where he's saying rock and roll all night, really weird. Where he's like I.
Yeah, he did that a few times. Was that the Love Gun tour? Is that
Love Gun tour? Yeah.
What? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about because it doesn't Peter when they say rock and roll all night. Peter says all night, mommy, or something like that. Is that the same performance? I think.
And then
I think I know what you're talking about.
The way he sings every day, he's not singing it every day. He's like every day, and he's holding out the day really, really weird. So we made like a 15-minute segment just on those things. But
that's
fantastic. Going back to you guys had said it really well on your Elder episodes, but there's just something about this song. As much as Gene and Paul kind of want to, beg on, the Elder, like it's an afterthought. It's a really strong song, and Kiss being like the self-empowerment, you can do anything. I think in a larger sense would have worked really well as a live song, and seeing some of those Kiss Cruise songs when they played it for the first time, like people lost their mind, where you go, that would just work so well. So it's when I'm putting like a mixtape or just a Kiss Spotify list, I'm usually always throwing something from the Elder. And if it's not the Oath, it's usually always I. Both those songs usually appear. I don't know. It's just one of those feel good songs when you're like, I'm just having a real crappy day. You put that song on, you're like, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, I feel like that song stands alone from the Elder. Like obviously there are certain songs on the Elder, like Just a Boy and Under the Rose and Only You, that kind of fit with the album and they sound kind of weird outside their context. But I could be on almost any Kiss album just because it has that, lyrically it is a tried and true Kiss song about independence and all that. So yeah, I think it's the perfect song to include on our list.
I would have loved to heard a Bob Ezrin mix it like Revenge. Give it kind of like that God gave rock and roll to you, Bill and Ted's mix, where they're trying to figure out what Revenge would have sounded like. I think to go in and kind of redo that maybe with the Revenge lineup and fatten it up a little bit. I think it would have turned this song into something that might have sat in Revenge really nicely.
I think it would have made the whole album sound better if Bob Ezrin had made, all the songs kind of like that, where they were beefed up, because I feel like some of the production just kind of fell flat on the Elder, even though it is a great album. It's like the Sonics weren't quite as great as Destroyer. Destroyer is like, you know, a Sonic masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the Elder just, even just a few years later, just, I don't know. It doesn't quite stack up, I think, sonically. It'd be cool to see that one have a the Elder resurrected.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah.
That would be fantastic. I wish that resurrected. Yeah, I wish they would do that. That would be nuts.
Yeah. See, now I want that for Christmas.
Absolutely. Where's Frankenstein? He's got to do that. He's got to do the Elder now.
Heck yeah. Let's make that happen. Okay, let's move to the fifth song on the list, Your S, one of the two S's on the list.
Yeah, so this one I just, I went straight ahead with it. Classic song, Shout It Out Loud. It's a song that studio version wise, I don't ever actually listen to it very much. I think, Destroyer as an album is fine. It's good. It's not my go-to Kiss album. Obviously, when you hear a song like that live, it's way more beefed up. So I would rather prefer to hear Shout Out Loud live. And it's funny because even though I don't listen to it very much in the studio, when it came to seeing Kiss live, it was always like the second or third song in the set list, it seemed like, for the last several tours. And so having it in the beginning of the set list and hearing it live, I think just got me pumped up for the show. I always loved hearing the song live and felt like, this is like one of the best Kiss songs, even if it wasn't what my go-to in the studio. And it just goes to show how great Kiss is live. But Shout Out Loud, I've always loved it. The trading back vocals, you got to have a party, even having either Ace or Tommy sing and joining in. Yeah, just a really cool Kiss song, and I always enjoyed hearing that song live. I'm gonna miss it for sure.
Same. It was one of those when they started playing it at song 3 or song 4. For a while, I thought, well, that seems really weird. It should be an ending song. But once you started hearing it in that position, I think Shout It Out Loud would get lost behind the Black Diamonds, the Rock and Roll All Nights, the God gave rock and roll to use.
And the Love Gun, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're already priming you. You've seen the curtain drop, you've got past Detroit Rock City, Deuce, and you hit Shout It Out Loud. You're getting
those
great
three
1, 2,
back
3.
to back.
Yes. And
that's lethal.
Yes.
That's lethal live Kiss.
And it's already a great song, but it elevates that song because of the two preceding songs that you're just already like, great, awesome. And then, they may bring it down a little bit for the fourth song, but those 1, 2, 3 punches, especially during the End of the Road tour, it was just like, you're off to the races.
I think the fourth song might actually be War Machine, so they may not even turn it down. They might just keep going.
That's right.
Because it was like War Machine, and then Say Yeah, and then I Love It Loud, and it was like just the whole set list, man. Gosh,
we're gonna depress ourselves. We're gonna depress ourselves.
Yeah, no, we're
open your next GIF. What does it matter? Kiss isn't playing anymore.
It's not Kiss tickets. What does it matter? There's no tour. What is life? It means nothing. No,
I got this crappy Kiss list. Where's my live show?
I got my crappy list and a half-drank money bag. I'm gonna need more. No, but so Shout Out Loud, very simply, is my first S.
My first S in song 5. I'm going really old. 1974 from the second album. I love this track. I did the 50th anniversary with you this year. And arguably my favorite song off that album is Strange Ways. Peter sounds like a beast on it, and Ace just sounds dirty and nasty in the song. And as much as I think some people were like, I wish the production on the album was a little bit better, this song sounds fantastic with the production on Hotter Than Hell. I wouldn't want this song mixed any other way. I like the ESP version of it as well with Eric Singer singing it, but you can't beat, the first Ace Frehley written, song solely written by Ace. And, getting a chance to see Ace back in 2007 when he played this one, it went over great, just fantastic. The standout track for me off Hotter Than Hell.
I think he played this one live when we saw him back in January too. And it was kind of one where it was like, man, it'd be really cool if he plays it, but he might not, just because it's one of those that I feel like, let's face it, that one is a deep cut from Kiss album.
Right.
That's a deep cut from a classic Kiss album. But I was like, you never know. Never say never. So yeah, I think towards the end of the set, maybe second to last song, he plays Strange Ways and rips into that solo. And that was definitely a moment for sure where it was like, yes, I mean, of course I already got what I came for, but this was like, a really cool moment too, was hearing Strange Ways live.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Not to get on a sidetrack for time, but Ace had an album out this year, and you got to see that the tour and hear songs from the album. Just here we are in December to go. That was January. That was 12 months ago. That's crazy.
He's playing another show a couple hours away, several months from now, and I'm like, or a few months from now, and I'm like, I really want to go. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen, but I would really like to go. We'll see.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right.
We could call this the halfway point if you want. We are at number 6 on the list. So we're at the letter T. What would be your T?
So for this one, I chose Turn on the Night. Another one from Crazy Nights. Yeah, this one is it's kind of a forgotten song, I feel like. I mean, there was a music video for it, and it was released as a single, I believe. Was it released as a single, or was it just a video?
I've got a 45 somewhere if I can reach
45. Exactly, and it's almost like one of the forgotten singles, because I mean, Tears Are Falling, look it up. Those are singles we all know, and the 80s singles we all know and think about. But Turn on the Night, I felt like just somehow got lost in the shuffle. I don't know. But that song, I mean, it's already a great album, but that's definitely a standout song. And I think it's the last song on the album, if not one of them.
Next to last.
Next to last. What is the last?
Thief in the Night. I think that's poor track placement for me. I would
flip that, but I'm assuming because Gene had less songs, they had to space out. Well, no, that doesn't make much sense either. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, love that song. Great song.
It never got played live, but it was played twice so they could lip sync it for a video shoot at the concert. So Bruce had said they never even played it. Bruce was thinking, let's play it live at this show so we can play it. And Paul and Gene were like, nah, we'll just play it twice over the PA, lip sync it, and that's it. So they never played the song live.
Wow.
So Bruce never got a chance to do it until he was, on his own with his, solo band and stuff.
That's crazy. It reminds me of something like Never Enough, which was the third single off of Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
That also never got played live. It was like just recorded and then released. And, they played Marty Delilah and Say Yeah, the first two singles, and I'm an Animal, which wasn't even a single, but then they just didn't even play. Like, they released it as a single, but did no promotion for it, didn't actually play it live. It didn't make it into the set list. It was like, well, what's even the point? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
The things that Kiss has done.
Right. The ways you have disappointed me, and that I still loved every minute of it. My number 6, my T. Sometimes you get a good gift, and then sometimes the street taketh away. Maybe you got your bike and your bike going. So if a street giveth, a street taketh away. It's another one of those songs. Again, when this was the only Kiss album I had to listen to. And next year, we're going to do a show that's called I Didn't Realize I Wasn't Supposed to Like That. And this is one of those where people like, Hot in the Shade isn't any good, or blah, blah, blah. Street Giveth. I mean, Tommy Thayer written song before he was in the band. He's playing acoustic guitar on the track, singing backing vocals on the track.
Yeah.
And I think it's a standout track from Gene. It's on, if I could reach it, it's on the cassette single of Forever right there. And it's got a remix of it.
Is it really? For sure. Very cool.
Street giveth, street taketh away. I don't care who you are. I love my Hot in the Shade.
That's an obscure one, man. You're coming in with some good ones. I like how, I think so far, besides the song I, which is, kind of fun and cheeky, we have not repeated any of them, have we?
No.
Wow, good for us. I bet M we do. Let's see what happens with M, right?
Right, yeah, here we go.
This is the time where we have the same song. We'll see. My M is Mainline from Hotter Than Hell. Another track from Hotter Than Hell. And yeah, it's just a fantastic song. Peter, awesome vocals from Peter. I loved hearing Eric Singer sing it live when they played it on the first Kiss cruise. I think they did all of Hotter Than Hell, or maybe it was all Dressed to Kill, but it just made its way in there somehow. I don't know. Killer song, loved it. I think Eric did it justice, but it's like one of my go-to songs of Hotter Than Hell. Even though it is a deep cut, it's just one of my go-to songs. And I was like, it was the first thing I thought of. I was like, I could go through. It was this and Making Love, and I thought I could go through and try and find other songs that start with M, but I said, nah, I'm going with Mainline just because it has to be.
Yeah, it was on my short list. I was writing stuff down at work, and I was like, well, I already have Strange Ways on it as the guy that has like 4 Hot in the Shade songs. But that was one when I first got Hotter Than Hell. I think I even said this on your show this year, that Mainline was just one of those. I'm like, that's a great tune that was just overlooked. Like, there's an alternate universe somewhere where that just became a staple for Peter Criss to sing. Just it's a note perfect song. Everything about it goes, that's Kiss. That's Kiss in a nutshell. Especially that's the guy that sings Black Diamond, and he's got another song, on the album. Just back when Peter was really, they were allowing him to contribute things. This would have been something I'd have been look at and go, Mainline, do more of this type of stuff. Absolutely. My number 7, I'm going to where my bread and butter is. Sometimes you're the master and sometimes you are the slave.
Oh, nice. Some Carnival of Souls, man.
Carnival of Souls, that big thumping bass by Bruce, but played like Gene, and Eric's big fat just kick drum kicking that song off, and one of the best Paul Stanley screams. That's something that I want to try and work in this year, is reviewing Carnival of Souls. I just you should. It's easily a top 2 album for me. I've loved that album since the day I got the crappy bootleg I have. I wish I still had it, because I thought, once I got the official thing, I don't need this bootleg. I would love to go back and have
I see.
Indianapolis Kiss Expo bootleg. When I walked in and I heard the drums of Rain, I'm going, I don't know what that is, but I hope it's this Carnival of Souls album. But yeah, Master and Slave.
That's so cool that you actually had the demo or the bootleg before the actual came out, because I've heard stories of it was passed around from person to person, and it's like, you hear the legend, but it's like, no, you live that. You were handed. Were you handed a copy? Did you buy it? How that happened?
I bought it. I spent $20 on it, and it was in a red jewel case, and it was the leather face where the hands are holding the leather. It didn't have the flame part head on it. You open it up, and then the burnt like CDR had the flame head on it, and the track listing was pretty close to what it was. Rain was called I Think It's Gonna Rain. I Walk Alone was on there, and a lot of bootlegs didn't have it. But yeah, the track sequence was pretty close to the official. So I think somebody like really had a good, I mean, it was a poor copy, don't get me wrong, but it was just something I played over and over and over again. But yeah.
Do you remember sorry to keep going. Do you remember if the production on those versions were the mixes on that bootleg different than the ones that came out? Like, were the ones that Kiss officially released, did they go in and tweak it, make it better, or was it just basically 1-to-1?
It was pretty much a 1-to-1. I mean, I don't know how many generations this was. I mean, my copy was really kind of muddy. So when I heard the official release, things sounded brighter, but as far as, it wasn't like, oh, there's this new effect. So the backing masking stuff was still there for, the word Rain was still morphing like it does, and all the backwards guitar stuff. So there was nothing different other than the clarity of it, because, it being however many generations of a bootleg that somebody made off of a CDR. So it was only as good as whoever had a 12th copy of it to digitize it. So if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was like a Xerox of a Xerox, or at a certain point, it's like
at a certain point, it's staying at this quality level, being a CD, but it was sourced from a tape, so you could kind of hear the tape hiss consistently through the CD. So to me, I was like, "Oh, this sounds amazing," only just because the clarity was like here's what it really sounds like. But there was nothing earth shattering. Like, wow, that's a completely different mix of Childhood's End. Everything pretty much sounded like it did, just in better quality.
Very cool. Cool.
All right, we're coming down to our last two. Number 8, the Ocho. What is your A?
The Ocho. That was a good one, Cotton. All right. So for mine, I had to choose. I had to choose I had to choose All the Way, another song off of Hotter Than Hell. So that's my
3
third
for
track.
you? Okay.
I think, is that 3? Oh no, Come On and Love Me was on
Dress to Kill.
Dress to Kill. So it's 2, but it's my favorite 2. It's funny, I have Mainline and All the Way because they're my 2 go-tos from Hotter Than Hell. And I think I mentioned that in our review when I had you on my show. So yeah, All the Way, fantastic song. Again, very simplistic, but the cowbell and just like the 1 or 2, 3 chord, whatever riff is just awesome. It's a very simplistic song, almost like dry. It's like the Kiss demo that squeaked its way onto an album. You know what I mean? Because like you could see this being one of the ones on the 01 box set where it's like, oh yeah, that's a early Kiss demo. But no, this one actually made it onto the album. And there's something charming about it, even though it is a very simplistic song, musically speaking. I've always loved it. I've always thought it was great. And when I hear it now, it just gives me a sense of nostalgia for being back in the 8th grade when I first bought the album at the Indie Kiss Expo, and Mr. Speed played the whole album live, and I can just get transported back to that. But yeah, so I chose All the Way.
I can't remember if I said it on your show or not, but I feel it's a very, and I mean this, I love the song. It's a very paint by numbers. We're going to do this. Like you said, the very simplistic with the cowbell. Like you'd have figured that Paul and Gene were like, you're not really going to do that cowbell thing in the song. Like, no, I'll come up with something else. And that's just what makes the record.
Yeah.
And it's so charming and not cheesy charming. It just works. Everything that you might want to, again, talk about the production of Hotter Than Hell, but you go, that song, like that's the Christmas card photo that you send out and your nephew's off to the side. Like he's got a crap eating grin on his face. You're like, okay, what's up with here? Yeah.
That's funny. Good.
Yeah. And I love it for that.
Same.
I thought you were going to go this way, the way you said all. So I thought,
all for the glory, all for the love.
All for the love of rock and roll. I had to find a way to squeeze a Mr. Eric Singer lead vocal in here.
Absolutely.
I don't need a reason. I like that song. Again, on a show that we do, I didn't realize I was supposed to like that.
Yeah, exactly. What?
Didn't
get the memo.
Yeah, I think it's a great song. It's that typical Kiss Road Warrior song, and Eric is telling you why he's on the road, why he loves it, and it's all for the love of rock and roll. I think it's just to me, it's in that rock and roll over vein of a type of song that I think they were going for. I love the tune.
Yeah, I've always thought that was a great song because Monster, to me, one of the reasons why I've always sort of leaned towards Monster versus Sonic Boom is because I feel like Monster's more upbeat. It has a little bit more drive, a little more energy to it, a little bit more raw and heaviness to it. Whereas All for the Love of Rock and Roll is like one of the only songs in the album that kind of like slows it down just a little bit and has a more mellow approach to it. And it does bring me back to, rock and roll over, sonically speaking, sound wise, lyrically, musically, thematically. It almost makes me think of like God Gave Rock and Roll to You. God Gave Rock and Roll to You, All for the Love of Rock and Roll. It has a, almost like a parallel there. But yeah, and it's always funny to me how when I hear people talk about Monster, it's like, oh, that album sucked, but that song really sucked. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Eric Singer nailed those vocals. Sounded great. Again, go back to cowbell, classic Kiss. Everything about it was just, again, classic Kiss. It was great. Loved it.
And I have the same thought of I love Sonic Boom, but I think after they had done Sonic Boom, that was Paul shaking kind of the dust off and go, okay, now that we're playing, now that we've done it, this is what I want to do. They fine-tuned the things that they were trying for Sonic Boom, and I think they really landed it with Monster as a whole. And I think this is one of the shining gems from that album. So again, it's one of those songs that I try and fit on a playlist somewhere just because I like the song. So It's my KISSmas party, and I will play it if I want to.
Bingo. Great addition.
This episode, I know this episode's going to go by quick, and I'm going to tack some things on to the beginning and end so I can let you go. But we're down to the 9.
Oh, this is it. This is the 9.
This will conclude the 9. So, what is your 9th and final song for spell? Can you spell Christmas with a kiss?
Yes, and I decided to not waste this. I thought, you know what, I wanted to make this somehow, fit in with everything. And so the first S, I had Shout It Out Loud, a 70s track. So for this last S, I'm going to use Shout Mercy from their last album. You used a monster track just now. I'm going to close mine out with a monster track because this one, kind of like you, this is like my standout track from the album. I heard it, listened to it. I must have been several months ago at this point, but for some reason I just heard it again and was like, this song is better than it has any right to be. It is just a powerhouse of a song. I love Eric's drum track on it. The little Tommy's woo woo on the guitar or whatever that is so cool. They have, that classic Kiss back and forth gang vocals, lead vocals. I mean, it has everything you could possibly want. And on the pre-chorus or whatever it is, the bridge or the riff that leads up into that is just so chugging along. It's so energetic. It's so upbeat. I love Shout Mercy, and I thought, so Shout It Out Loud, Shout Mercy, 70s Kiss, modern Kiss, and that's going to conclude my list.
Such a great song, and the best compliment I can pay the song is it's not something that comes to my mind when I'm thinking of Monster, but when the song starts, I'm always like, why am I not playing this song more? The intro of the song is great. I just need to get that ingrained. Like, I need an upbeat song. Shout Mercy should be it. That's just, it's great how you bookended this with your shouts, and I'm going to bookend mine very much the way mine started. I started with Hot in the Shade. I'm going to close with Hot in the Shade. If you're eating some fig pudding, you may have to reach into grandma's drawer and pull out a silver spoon to eat it.
How are you coming up with these, man? Oh my God. Did you write these out? Did you rehearse these in front of the mirror, or are these just like
no, I did not. It's just coming to me. RBTE has
hilarious.
Kind of faltered a little bit, but we're gonna land the ship strong at the end of
there you go.
Silver Spoon. It's another one of those in an alternate universe. This should have been a single off of the album. It should have been played. I love the set list for the Hot in the Shade tour, but I know it's 15 songs. You should have cut it down. Blah blah blah. I love all the songs. Could have been 20, but there were some really good songs off of this album, and I think Silver Spoon is one of them. They bring in the gospel choir at the end of it to sing, and I like in the liner notes of, I think it's in the box set, where I think the pastor or the choir leader was like, is there anything bad in the song that the choir shouldn't be singing with, or whatever. But it's a great Paul song. It was great to see Bruce's solo band pull this song out and do it. Just friggin-tastic song. I love Silver Spoon. And like I said, for me, Hot in the Shade, on your show, Daphne says that, Asylum is like her summer album, or it's that driving album. When I think Christmas, it's always Hot in the Shade. The whole it's Hot in the Shade and it's a summertime album. I think just because the time I became a Kiss fan, that my best friend Ben and I, this was the only album we would have. And back in the days where you didn't have a cell phone, that we were holding the corded phone over the boombox, like, listen to this cool part of the song, and dreaming, not even thinking a day like this would happen where we'd be on a computer screen talking some 33 some odd years later about my love and joy with this album. And just Christmas is always wrapped in a Hot in the Shade blanket for me. So that's
awesome.
I'm glad you stopped by to do this and pinch hit for the Carusos. if you have time, do you want to read through theirs?
I do.
So I sent you Nico's list. So we'll just read them down. We don't have their explanation here for it, but I'll have you read Nico's and then I'll read Nick's.
For sure. I'm really impressed with Nico. So Nico, if you're watching, dude, this list rocks. Yeah, for real. This is awesome. So Nico spells Christmas like this: C, creatures of the night. H, hard luck woman. R, rise to it, just like you.
Nico.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. And then, of course, I was always going to be I Stole Your Love. There was no other song Nico was going to put there. If the song started with a K, he would mark out K and put I Stole Your Love. And then his first S is she. I should have put she. But I put Shout Out Loud, and I'm not going to regret that. But she, great choice. Take Me was his T. And then Mr. Speed, Almost Human, another top tier choice. And then he ends his with Shandy. So Shandy's a very nice Christmassy sounding song. It's very light and fluffy. So no, this list is fantastic. Not only is it fantastic, but I noticed that neither Nico or I chose the same song. I don't think.
Yeah.
We did not choose any of the same songs. So that just goes to show how many Kiss songs or how many songs Kiss has and how many different ways you can spell KISSmas or Christmas.
That's awesome. Right. And I'll read Mr. Caruso's here. So he spells Christmas with a C for Come On and Love Me. So he has repeated yours, which is really cool.
Good minds think alike.
Yep. He went with Hotter Than Hell for his H. Good choice. Nice. Good choice. I was surprised I didn't think anybody was going to pick this, but he picked a classic Rock and Roll All Night for his R, which I thought was, again, I think it's one of those, like it wasn't even on my radar, but seeing it, I'm like, I don't know how I didn't. Like father, like son. I'm almost surprised that he didn't let, as Nick would say, let the kid have a son, but he stole I Stole Your Love from Nico. So technically I got Nick's list first. So technically, Nico, you came in second behind your dad. So let that be a discussion in the Caruso household over Christmas.
Yeah, you guys deal with that one, right?
Nick's got Shock Me for his first S, which I wasn't even thinking about. That was nice. That was great. And dude, he's pulling another one off of the album. His T is Tomorrow and Tonight. Why was
he's definitely classic Kiss fan right there. He's definitely classic OG Kiss fan, man. This list is great.
I love his. I think you had this. Did you have M or Making Love?
No, it was going to be either Making Love or Mainline.
Oh, that's right. Yours was Mainline. Okay.
But he went Making Love for sure.
This one was not even on my radar, and all props. His A, he's a 6 foot hot luck, all American.
Oh,
man. What a killer tune.
Damn.
I wasn't even thinking about that. And then he rounds out his last S for Christmas with the classic Strutter from the first Kiss album, rounding out the 50th anniversary. And nobody had Strutter other than Nick.
The last song on his list was the first song on the first Kiss album. I like the way he did that. Not sure if it was meant to be that way, but it worked out that way. So, chef's kiss on that one.
Awesome. Well, Xander, this is the point where the party's over and I need to get things cleaned up so we can get into the back half of the episode. But I appreciate you, brother, for stopping by, spending some KISSmas time with an Ohioan over here. So I really appreciate it. Hopefully you and Daphne and the rest of Kiss Army Things have a great and happy holiday. And do you guys have any plans before I let you go? What's your Christmas going to be like?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I think you mentioned earlier that we were both on Pasquale's and Claudio's KISSmas special on Kiss Army Nation. And here I am joining you on the RBTE KISSmas special. And yesterday, Daphne and I filmed our KISSmas special for the Kiss Army Things. So, I've been joining, on 3 different podcasts for the KISSmas special. So, I'm blessed. I'm happy, man. This has been absolutely fantastic. So we basically opened up some gifts on our show. We gave some gifts away. Of course, we always do the KISSmas giveaway. So we're giving out 4 used records this year, 4 used Kiss records,
cool.
All 70s. So that's really cool. And we even got a gift from somebody else. And then Daphne and I got gifts for each other. So yeah, check out the Kiss Army Things KISSmas special. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we're going to be, of course, I have lots of KISSmas gifts for the family. Some gifts for our nephews, our younger cousins, a little girl who goes to our church who's also a Kiss fan. Her favorite Kiss song is "Turn on the Night."
Really?
I mentioned that for my tea. She said, "Guess what my favorite Kiss song is?" I was like, "What?" And she said, "Turn on the Night." And I was like, "How do you know that?" So
who told you that?
Who told? Yeah. Who told you to say that? I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." I guess she heard it on Spotify, and she hears it on repeat. She loves it. And I thought, wow, you know what? Even though they never played it live, they only lip sync it to the music video. At least this little 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid likes it in 2024. But yeah, so she's going to get a KISSmas shirt this year.
That is awesome. That the future generations aren't just getting this Strutters and the Rock and Roll Nights, which are great. They're discovering some of these great gems in the catalog. For us, we don't have any of the, wife and I aren't exchanging KISSmas gifts. I'm sure that there'll be a KISSmas, something under the tree, but just looking to, spend time with the family. And I've got a Christmas show to play this Sunday at the time I'm recording this. This is going to be the day after Christmas. If you're hearing it, it's Christmas. It was already yesterday. I'm just following our normal release schedule on Thursday. So maybe you've got another Christmas to go to. So we'll let Xander go here and we'll wrap up the show on the other side and it'll just be me. But again, buddy, thanks for doing the show. Happy holidays. Give my best to Daphne and may you guys have a happy and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You too. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
All right. We'll see you guys on the other side in just a second. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, that is it. That is a wrap for 2024. Can't believe that 2024 is over. I mean, it'll be over in a few days by the time that you're watching this, watching or listening to this on the 26th. But again, I just kind of want to apologize for, life getting in the way, and that sometimes happens. I mean, the three of us very much love doing this podcast, and I want to make sure that there is content by at least 1, 2, or all three of us, and putting in some guest hosts coming through. I know something that the Carusos very much still want to do, still very much a part of, and like I said, work and job and all of that stuff, and new band projects, and me doing a side podcast with Rogue Record Music, and the Carusos are still doing Vigilante 1939 podcast, which is fantastic if you're into the superhero, Star Wars, kind of geek sphere of a podcast. The 3 Nicks over there have a fantastic show. So I need to start promoting their show as well, because it's a fantastic show. The new Superman trailer just released this week at the time that I'm filming this. So I know that they're going to have reviews and thoughts on that if you're into the whole superhero thing. I want to really kick off 2025 with our podcast and then my satellite podcast, Rogue Record Music, and really start digging in to my expansive record collection to show you some of my other favorite bands or artists and other CDs and cassettes that maybe I bought and vinyls through the years, and going, why in the world did I buy Christina Aguilera? And to be able to talk about that, or, maybe not so much Kiss on that one, since this is where the Kiss stuff is. But I know that Nick and Nico and myself also want to branch out and talk about some other bands on this podcast as well. Get back to our opening act segment that we like to do, and have some fun with some other album reviews. We still haven't hit some of the big album reviews now, just coming up on the end of our third year doing this show. So again, apologizing for 2024, but sometimes life throws you some curveballs, and that's just what it is. So on the behalf of the Carusos and myself, we hope you've had a Merry Christmas, happy holiday season, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. Or if you don't celebrate anything like that and you just are chilling, just listening to music, we hope that you have found enjoyment in this podcast in 2024. And we've got some cool things that we're starting to work for 2025. And we want to try to get back into having some guests and reaching out to people. We never did get to reach out to Tom and Zeus for their great book that they had put out with Joey Quesada, again, because work schedules just got to be really, really crazy. But hopefully we can get that all ironed out in 2025. And just wanted to say happy holidays, happy new year, and we'll see you guys in the first of the new year. So crank it up to 10, and remember to turn it up because we love it loud. Take care. God bless.